Sunni Islam, the largest denomination within Islam, boasts a rich history spanning centuries and continents. Its story is one of profound faith, intellectual pursuit, and cultural influence. From the Arabian Peninsula to the heart of Asia, Sunni Islam has shaped societies, inspired art and architecture, and left an enduring legacy on human civilization. For much of Islamic history, Sunni Islam flourished, fostering vibrant centers of learning and scholarship. The echoes of its golden age, marked by groundbreaking advancements in mathematics, astronomy, and medicine, still resonate today. The faith spread far and wide, carried by merchants, scholars, and explorers, leaving an indelible mark on the diverse cultures it encountered. Today, Sunni Muslims constitute the majority of Muslims worldwide, their faith a testament to the enduring power of belief and tradition. From bustling cities to remote villages, the call to prayer rings out 5 times a day, uniting millions in devotion. The tenets of Sunni Islam, rooted in the Quran and the teachings of the Prophet Muhammad, continue to guide the lives of countless individuals, offering solace, purpose, and a moral compass. However, the story of Sunni Islam is not without its challenges. In recent times, the faith has faced a confluence of internal and external pressures that have tested its resilience and shaken its foundations. From the rise of secularism to the scourge of terrorism, Sunni Islam has navigated a complex and often turbulent landscape. The 1970s witnessed a profound shift in the intellectual landscape of the Muslim world with the emergence of secular Islam. This new wave of thought challenged traditional interpretations of Islamic scripture and advocated for the separation of religion and state. Secular Muslims, influenced by Western philosophical thought and a desire for modernity, sought to reconcile their faith with the principles of reason, individual liberty, and democratic values. The rise of secular Islam sent ripples through Muslim societies, sparking debates about the role of religion in public life, the rights of individuals, and the nature of governance. Secular Muslims argued that Islam, at its core, promoted freedom of conscience, critical thinking, and a just society. They envisioned a Muslim world where faith was a personal choice, not a dictate of the state, and where citizens, regardless of their religious beliefs, enjoyed equal rights and opportunities. However, the path of secular Islam has been fraught with obstacles. Traditionalists within Sunni Islam viewed this new wave of thought with suspicion, seeing it as a threat to established religious authority and a dangerous deviation from the true path. The struggle for acceptance and recognition within the broader Sunni community has been an uphill battle for secular Muslims, who often face accusations of heresy, apostasy, and betrayal of their faith. The latter half of the 20th century witnessed the rise of Shia Islam as a potent force on the global stage. Led by the Islamic Republic of Iran, Shia Islam presented itself as a revolutionary force, challenging the status quo and advocating for the rights of the oppressed. The Iranian Revolution of 1979, which toppled the US-backed Shah and established a theocratic Shia state, sent shockwaves throughout the Middle East and beyond. Iran's emergence as a regional power, coupled with its unwavering support for Shia communities and movements across the Muslim world, unsettled the traditional Sunni-dominated power structure. The rivalry between Sunni and Shia Islam, dormant for centuries, reignited, adding a new layer of complexity to the geopolitical landscape. Shia Islam, with its emphasis on social justice, resistance against tyranny, and the veneration of Ali, the Prophet Muhammad's cousin and son-in-law, resonated with many Muslims who felt marginalized and disenfranchised. Iran's revolutionary zeal and its projection of itself as a champion of the downtrodden, particularly the Palestinians, garnered sympathy and support among segments of the Muslim population. Section 4. Terrorism's Shadow, the Unfair Burden on Sunni Islam. The spectre of terrorism, particularly after the horrific events of September 11, 2001, cast a long shadow over Sunni Islam. The rise of extremist groups such as al-Qaeda and later ISIS, who perpetrated acts of violence in the name of Islam, tarnished the image of the faith in the eyes of many around the world. These extremist groups, with their twisted interpretations of Islamic scripture and their brutal tactics, hijacked the narrative surrounding Islam, equating it with extremism, violence, and intolerance. The actions of a small fringe minority came to define the perception of an entire faith, leading to prejudice, discrimination, and Islamophobia. The association of Sunni Islam with terrorism placed an unfair burden on the vast majority of peaceful and law-abiding Muslims who condemned these acts of violence. Sunni scholars, imams, and community leaders have consistently denounced extremism, emphasizing that Islam is a religion of peace, compassion, and justice. Section 5. Extremism's grip, distorting the image of faith. Extremist movements, with their rigid ideologies and violent methods, have played a significant role in shaping the narrative surrounding both Sunni and Shia Islam. These groups, driven by a toxic mix of religious fanaticism, political grievances, and social alienation, have exploited sectarian tensions and manipulated religious sentiments to further their agendas. On the Sunni side, groups like al-Qaeda and ISIS have distorted the teachings of Islam to justify their brutal acts of terrorism. They have propagated a narrative of victimhood, resentment, and confrontation, portraying the West and its allies as enemies of Islam. Their ideology, based on a narrow and literalist interpretation of Scripture, rejects any form of pluralism, tolerance, or dialogue. Shia extremism, while less prominent on the global stage, has also fueled sectarian violence and instability in regions like Iraq and Yemen. Groups like Hezbollah, designated as a terrorist organization by many Western countries, operate as both political and militant actors, espousing an ideology of resistance against Israel and its allies. Section 6. A crisis of compassion, the plight of the Palestinians. The ongoing Israeli-Palestinian conflict, a festering wound in the heart of the Middle East, has exposed a crisis of compassion within the Muslim world. The plight of the Palestinians, dispossessed of their land and subjected to decades of occupation and conflict, has elicited sympathy and support from many, but tangible action from those in a position to help has been lacking. While Shia-led Iran has positioned itself as a staunch supporter of the Palestinian cause, providing financial and military aid to groups like Hamas, its efforts have often been marred by its own geopolitical calculations and its rivalry with Sunni-led Arab states. The Sunni world, for its part, has been criticized for its inconsistent and often tepid response to the Palestinian issue, with many Arab states prioritizing their own strategic interests over the suffering of their fellow Muslims. The lack of unified and effective action from the Muslim world has allowed the Israeli-Palestinian conflict to fester, perpetuating a cycle of violence and mistrust. The absence of a coordinated and compassionate response to the humanitarian crisis in Gaza and the West Bank has further eroded the credibility and moral authority of both Sunni and Shia leaders. Section 7. The road ahead, navigating the challenges to Sunni Islam. Sunni Islam stands at a crossroads, facing a multitude of challenges that will shape its future trajectory. Navigating this complex landscape requires introspection, reform, and a rediscovery of the faith's core values of peace, compassion, and justice. Confronting extremism remains paramount. Sunni scholars and religious leaders must continue to challenge the ideologies of hate and violence propagated by groups like al-Qaeda and ISIS, promoting a tolerant and inclusive interpretation of Islam. One that embraces diversity, critical thinking, and peaceful coexistence is crucial to countering the appeal of extremism. Addressing the socio-economic and political grievances that fuel extremism is equally important. Poverty, lack of opportunity, corruption, and political oppression create fertile ground for radicalization. Empowering marginalized communities, promoting good governance, and ensuring equal access to education and economic opportunities are vital to tackling the root causes of extremism.